Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to 7th Street. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge Fulci fan. In my opinion, there's no such thing as a bad Lucio Fulci movie, except maybe Cat in the Brain. But that's a story for another day. So, of course, in my opinion, the Gates of Hell trilogy is probably the best horror film series of all time.
I see the dead! City of the Dead!
The first film in this trilogy, and probably my favorite, is The Gates of Hell. And then not too far behind that, you have my second favorite, and probably Fulci's most stylistic movie, The Beyond. Then of course you have the third entry, which is The House by the Cemetery. But what if I told you that I don't really consider The House by the Cemetery to be the third film in this trilogy?
Don't get me wrong, I love House by the Cemetery. A lot. It's a fantastic gothic horror film, but I've just always sort of felt like it doesn't really belong in the Gates of Hell trilogy.
There's some major themes that I can't help but feel like are just missing in House by the Cemetery. First and foremost, there is no opening of the Gates of Hell in that movie. I know that it's blasphemy, but just for my own personal viewing pleasure, whenever I decide to watch the Fulci Gates of Hell trilogy, I'll replace The House by the Cemetery with Demonia.
Come on, hear me out.
Demonia is a 1990 supernatural thriller about a group of archaeologists in Sicily who unknowingly release an evil from an ancient crypt when they excavate the site where a group of devil-worshipping nuns were executed.
Satana si è impossessato di loro! Sì! Suore maledette!
The movie opens in Sicily, obviously. In 1486, a mob of villagers torture and crucify the 5 nuns suspected of witchcraft in this chamber beneath their convent.
This is probably the best scene in the movie. It's beautifully shot and really reminiscent of earlier Fulci films. The first time I saw it, I was blown away.
Unfortunately, fans found this scene to be a little too reminiscent of his past work. In fact, it's been pointed out again and again that Fulci seems to be ripping off some of his own movies. They say that this scene in particular is the exact same opening from The Beyond. I like this opening scene better. Well, so what if he ripped off one of his own scenes? It's just one scene. It's not like he also ripped off a scene from The Gates of Hell.
Crap!
Yeah, Fulci totally rips off the seance scene from Gates of Hell right after he rips off the crucifixion scene from The Beyond. This character is Liza, our lead, and an archaeologist.
Cosa fai qui?
After using a pickaxe to break into the cavern containing the charred remains of the 5 nuns, some supernatural murders begin to take place. A boat captain named Porter is killed off by a harpoon gun-wielding, perky-titted ghost nun. Blah blah blah, some more bullshit happens. Our main character, Liza, continues to investigate the mystery of the crucified nuns. She meets this strange woman who tells her all about what happened at the ruins centuries ago. Apparently, the nuns not only practiced witchcraft, but they held orgies as well. Local men were invited for sex and then murdered as they reached the point of orgasm. What a way to go. The nuns would then drink their blood, and if by any chance one of the crazed nuns would become pregnant, they would carry the unwanted baby to full term and then throw the newborns onto the fire.
That isn't even the crazy part of this scene.
Just after telling Liza the story of the satanic nun, the strange woman is attacked and mutilated by her own pet cats. The next morning, angry townspeople attack the haunted ruins, and this guy gets torn in half by an ancient torture device. Liza reappears, foaming at the mouth and writhing on one of the crosses. The mob decides to set her and all the skeletal remains of the nuns on fire.
And then the movie just sort of ends. This is probably the happiest ending in the Fulci filmography.
While not considered to be the worst in Fulci's extensive filmography, the ridiculousness that is Fulci ripping off his own movies has not been met with much approval. But as a die-hard Fulci fan, I really enjoy this one. Right from the opening scene, I was totally on board with it. I think this one is just a little overlooked because, well, unfortunately, it came at a point in Fulci's career when budgets were slim, and the man was trying desperately to claw his way back to some fragment of his previous reputation.
Alcun commento da parte del capo sull'andamento delle indagini, se le stiamo svolgendo in maniera superficiale, lenta o che ne so. Ispettore, guardi.
Along with Voices from Beyond, Demonia is one of the better films from Fulci's later years. Casual splatter fans might have a hard time finding something that they appreciate, but for die-hard Fulci fans, I'd say this is a must-watch.
So next time you decide to watch the Fulci Gates of Hell trilogy, do me a favor. Replace House by the Cemetery with Demonia, and I guarantee you'll end up asking yourself, why doesn't anyone reference this film?